Hey, Scott Lara, president of militaryfairs.com, your one-stop shop for travel. If you're a member of the military, if you're a veteran like I am or a family member of a military person, militaryfairs.com. Wow, it's Friday. And I know you're thinking about your summer travel plans. If it's a cruise, all-inclusive resort, if it's going to a different town or a different city, there's so many different options available to you. And again, I know I've said it a couple times, and I got this from my friend Gary Vaynerchuk. 400 trillion to one. 400 trillion to one. That is your shot of being a human. And that's why from a very young age, I joined the Navy when I was 18, sailed the world. And I tell you, it's been a journey. Even though I'm 62 years old, I know that I've got a lot of years left. And not just for me and my wife, but for my kids and my grandkids. I have a 6-year-old grandson, a 4-year-old grandson, and a little baby granddaughter. And being able to travel and do these fun things to make those memories is priceless. Last year, we went on a cruise with my 2 grandsons, and as my granddaughter gets older, I'm sure we're going to be going to all-inclusive resorts and going on cruises and doing lots of fun things. We've taken our grandsons to SeaWorld many, many times, and that's something they love to do, out running, doing a lot of fun things. But I will tell you, on the cruise, they had it's on the Carnival Liberty. We had a great time, kids club, mini golf, the dinners, the spaghetti, the food, the pancakes in the morning. My grandson Reed loved it. And thank you, Carnival. Thank you very much for that. And now we're going to be going on MSC Cruises in August on the MSC Seashore. So the cruise kid will be going on the MSC Seashore, and we'll be getting lots of video. We will be getting, his thoughts on the Kids Club and on the Pirates Cove splash pad, going to Nassau, and of course Ocean Cay, which is their private island. Amazing. It's got that lighthouse there. And what's cool about Ocean Cay is you get to stay later. You're not pulling out of there at 3 or 4 in the afternoon. You're staying there till 6, 7 o'clock at night, and then the lighthouse lights up. It's like a light show. It's very, very cool. Got a couple beaches there. Very kid-friendly, very family-friendly. And thanks again to MSC Cruises. Looking forward to doing that in August. I also have some friends that are getting married at Grand Palladium Riviera Maya, TRS Turquesa, down there in Riviera Maya. And that is cool too, because for weddings, I cannot think of a better place. You got Palladium, you got Sandals, you got lots of resorts, and having a wedding at a resort like that. Now, here's the challenge. A lot of people may not be able to afford to fly from the United States to Cancun, to Jamaica, to the Dominican Republic for a wedding. I know several years ago my daughter flew to the Dominican Republic for like the bachelorette party, I think it was, and she had a great time. And so having these weddings at these resorts, first of all, much more affordable than having a wedding here in the States, I believe. I know people who've had weddings, 20 grand, 30 grand, 50 grand. It can be very expensive, especially if it's open bar, right? And so there's lots of cost. But when you go to an all-inclusive resort, what is it? All-inclusive. So people are pretty much paying for their airfare to get to the resort. They're paying for their rooms, but the food, the alcohol, the soda, everything's included. So it is cost-effective, in my opinion, to have a wedding at an all-inclusive resort. Now, I'll be honest, my daughter, her wedding was in Orlando, and it was what it was. And my son, he and his wife had their wedding in Tampa, and that cost was what it was. But, more people were able to come. You got a bigger guest list, right? 150, 200 people. But if you go to an all-inclusive resort, it could be, fewer people who can afford to go or who can get off of work that can go. So many people have 2 weddings. They'll have one wedding here in the States, maybe at somebody's house or a small church, backyard, gazebo, and then do another wedding at an all-inclusive resort. And if you need help with weddings, I can help you with that too. Scott at militaryfairs.com. I can make phone calls, get you set up. There are people that have weddings on cruises. Now, I've actually performed a wedding on a cruise. Now, the fact of the matter is, the person has to get their marriage license, and they get boom, and they're legally married. But when I went on it was the Monarch of the Seas, I think it was, on Royal Caribbean. I was the officiant, and I performed the wedding, and my daughter and son were there for my friends who got married. And but again, people are paying for their cabins, if they're buying the alcohol package, if they're doing shore excursions. Now, I will say one thing about doing a cruise, a wedding on a cruise. Bring your own photographer, please. And I told this young lady, please bring your own photographer, the photographer you love, you've seen their work, the photographer that puts the Vaseline around the lens and all these little tricks, say the lighting and the this and the that. Do not depend on the ship's photographer to do your wedding photos. Why? Especially for the woman, those photos, oh, that's a memory. Oh, it's a memory, a memory. And so she went the cheap route and got the ship's photographers who do great jobs. They do a great job, but they are not professional photographers who know where you should walk and where you should come and where you should this and where you should that. Well, she got the ship's photographer and she was fit to be tied. She was very upset that the ship's photographers did a lousy job of taking pictures of the happy couple. So if you're going to get married on a cruise, now I will tell you one thing. A lot of people get married on a cruise, right? And let's say it's in Jacksonville. Well, maybe some people can't go on the 5-day or 7-day cruise, but the people can come on the ship, they can go to the ceremony, they can eat the cake, and then they get off the ship. And then the family and everybody else gets on, is on their ship and they sail away to their destination. So there's lots of different options, regarding weddings. But my number one tip, please do not use the ship's photographer. Now, at these resorts, I think there's a fee if you bring your own photographer because the resorts want you to use their photographer, and I get that. But listen, being a dad of a daughter who got married, let me just say this: the girl getting married, the mother of the bride and the mother of the groom need to look into the eyes of the photographer and say, hey, this is what we expect, and let's see your work. Now, of course, it does depend on who's paying for it. Now, I mean, if the mother of the groom is paying for everything, well, she's got the golden ticket. It's the golden rule. Whoever has the gold rules. And so she gets to call the shots. Now, if it's the father and mother of the bride that's paying for it, they probably get to call the shots. But if the groom and the bride, due to financial situations with the parents, if they're paying for it, then probably the bride's going to call the shots. Guys, we don't care. We have no desire about the photos. We don't care about the Vaseline on the lens. We don't care about this. We want to do the wedding. We want to do the honeymoon. It's more important for the wives, for the women, to have those photos because they're going to save those forever. So going back to the top of my video, what am I talking about? There's lots of stuff going on with summer vacations. You just got to figure out what you want to do, what your spouse wants to do, what would be fun for the kids. And if you're a member of the military, if you're a veteran or a family member of a military person, go to military fairs today. Don't wait, don't hesitate. Book your airfare, book your hotel. And if you're looking for an all-inclusive resort or a cruise, you can email me directly, scott@militaryfairs.com. Thanks so much for being with me this week here on YouTube and on the channels. If you have any questions, you can email me. Have a great weekend. Talk to you soon.